And yeah. Okay, perfect. So I hope you're all okay with the recording. And today what I really want to talk to you about is the home decor trends for 2022. Now, for those of you who know me better than others, is I am a professional home stager, home decorator, real estate investor, property flipper, pretty much everything to do with real estate, except I'm not a real estate agent. I'm not a broker, so I don't sell homes, in spite of the half fact that I was told by several people several times in my career that I probably should become a real estate agent and I'd probably make a lot more money. But so far, it hasn't really enticed me. And I believe, Monique, are you a real estate agent?
I am not.
Oh, you are not. Okay, because I confused you with someone else who I thought was. Okay. So I've been in this real estate arena for the last, I guess, almost 16 years, from 2006. And so along the way, I've picked up a lot of skills, a lot of experience. I am still doing some occasional home stagings in my local area, which is Montreal, Canada. I also do house flips with my husband. We actually have a project going on right now, which hopefully will be completed by April. It's a full and total rehab of a house, which is a ranch style home. Not very big. We took it, we completely gutted it, and we're rebuilding the main floor and rebuilding the basement. So I'm going to be posting videos and photos because I know people like that stuff. And then of course I'm going to be staging it at the end. So I'm going to show you that. So my focus is really for home sellers, and it's always been. But I realize that a lot of people who are not necessarily selling yet, or not necessarily ready to sell in the next 24 months, are still very interested in the home staging concepts, because a lot of them apply to decorating or a restyling of your home. And some of them more than others. And I always try to make a distinction and always try to let you know, what things I think you should be doing if you're selling your house, let's say in the next 24 months, versus the things that you could be doing if you're not planning to sell at all, or if you're not planning to sell, let's say in the next 5 years. So if you have questions, I encourage them. And this particular topic, at the end of each year and at the beginning of the year, I always look at paint color trends, which is quite interesting and sometimes very bizarre, as you'll see even this year. And I also look at, this year I expanded and I went into the home decor and trends that include everything, and we'll go through my top 10. Now, the interesting thing that I want to say, that I've done a lot of research over the last couple of weeks. And what I realized is basically everybody says whatever they want. So, there are some similarities, and that's what I really try to focus on with my own spin, of course, and my own advice and tips for you. But when you start Googling and you start looking at stuff that all these designers and companies post out there, basically you realize that everybody's preaching whatever they think it's going to be, but it's not necessarily the case. So you can have literally opposing opinions. So what I tried to do is I tried to not take into account the things that were very strange or that I didn't think were super interesting. And I really tried to focus on what I found as essential core themes. If you can mute yourself, who is not muted? Veronica is not muted. Monique is not muted. Louise, you're not muted. Simona, not muted. So yeah, so this way we don't hear any extra noises. Thank you. So I really tried to pick out for you the things that I thought were the most interesting and the most exciting, and something that you could easily apply to whatever your situations are. And, you're welcome to ask me a couple of questions. I would like to stay short, so I would like to stay within half an hour time limit today. But if I don't answer something, you're welcome to post in the group, and I welcome all the participation in the group, and I'll be very happy to answer your questions then. So without further ado, let me share my screen with you. And that's my biggest fear in all of that, is that my screens or so anything I do that it's not gonna, my technology is going to fail me, because that is where my weakness lies. Okay, so I'm going to take myself off. I don't know if you can see me or not. Let me know if you can see me. And I'm just going to close a couple of screens here. Okay, now I lost myself. Now I can see myself. Oh, hold on, guys. Let me just make sure. Okay, there we are. So I can see if you can see the screen, and let's go back to the where we're supposed to start, which is right here. So we are talking about the home decor trends, and as I said, I will go through the most important ones today. So let's talk about the color of the year. So the color of the year, surprisingly enough, and maybe a lot of you read my blog post that I posted a few weeks ago. And if you haven't, you're welcome to read it. And I can give you the link. And basically, the interesting thing that I discovered this year is that pretty much all of the major brands have selected some type of a green hue or shade as their color of the year, which rarely happens. And the other interesting thing is that the Pantone Institute, which is like this big organization that declares whatever the trends are on everything, and they do apparently a lot of research, and whatever they declare, that's kind of, you start seeing that everywhere, not just in paints, but in furniture and textiles and clothing and everything. So they chose something completely different, and I'll show you. And I think it's not very nice what they chose as the color of the year, but the major manufacturers. So we have on the left here, we have, that is a Benjamin Moore October Mist. You can see it's a kind of a gray, a green color, which we can call maybe sage. So that's kind of a very pleasant neutral color. And then the second one in the middle, it's Sherwin-Williams, and it's called Evergreen Fog. And again, we kind of have the same gray, between gray and green color, which I actually really like them. And I must say, greens usually are not my favorite colors. And the one on the right is Bear. And again, it's called Breezeway. So this one, when you see it maybe in a bigger format, you'll see that it's a little lighter than the other two. It leans maybe a little bit more towards a little bit of blue in it, but still it's all within the same range of colors. So, and then they added, of course, complementary colors to them. And some of the manufacturers went even into very deep emerald green colors, and I'll show you some examples. So what is the reason why all of a sudden all these brands, they ended up, because I don't think they really talk to each other, but why did they end up with very similar color of the year? And the reason is that the words that were chosen were serene, calm, nature. That is what they all came up with, and growth. And I think it really has to do with the pandemic, as much as I hate talking about the pandemic all the time. But I think it really has to do with that, because our life has changed so dramatically in the last couple of years. And the lifestyle and the way we live, the way we work, everything has changed so dramatically. And that is obviously reflected in what the trends are. And so we also don't forget an interesting thing, which you'll see through the whole presentation. If you think about nature, in the last couple of years, we've all spent a lot more time outside because of the lockdowns, because we were not allowed to be inside, meet our friends, families, etc. And so the trend this year is everything that has to do with nature, and basically bringing the nature into our home. Okay, so you'll see that trend through everything I'm going to talk about. So let me just stop sharing here for a minute, because I don't know, I screwed something up here, and I just want to see if there's anybody else who is waiting. No. Oh yeah, there is somebody else who is waiting. We see, because I don't know what I did here. Hi, Gina. So Gina is coming on. So I'm gonna have to do this. I'm not a super techie person, so you're gonna have to forgive me, but I'll be going back and forth. So for the paint colors, so I'm gonna go back, but basically for the paint colors, what I wanted to say is that those paint colors that were chosen, if you stick with them, they're very versatile, and they are, I think they're very easy to match with pretty much anything that you already might have in your house. And my goal is always to show you things that you can do easily and inexpensively without necessarily having to change, you know, everything in your house. Because, and that is actually very on trend. So I'm very on trend this year because a big theme is recycle, reuse, reclaim, and you'll see it reflected in all the trends. So you don't have to get rid of everything and then start anew. You basically take whatever you already have, and then you can just throw little things in to complement what you already have and freshen up what you've got, okay? So let's go back to me sharing my screen, and then we'll go and look for the other colors. So on, so what I was gonna say for the paint colors in general is that, you know, it's very individual and everybody's got different tastes and different, I call it the risk tolerance. So some people are more classical, and I would probably be in that category myself. I kind of prefer to go neutral and on the walls, because that's more expensive to repaint. It's a lot more work. And then what's easier is to change the accents and, you know, your cushions, or maybe just have one wall. So that's easier to do, but that's me. Some other people are a lot more adventurous, and they actually like very dark, bold, moody colors, and that is fine, as long as you're not selling. So again, you know, there's two perspectives here. So one perspective is, if I'm not selling and I don't care and I just do it for myself, then of course, go ahead and be bold and do whatever you like. If you're in love with a particular color, just go and do it. But if you are thinking that within the next 24 months, let's say you might be selling your house, that unless you don't care about repainting, I would probably suggest that you stay with a more neutral and more pale colors. So in terms of those greens, you know, I don't mind at all. Like I actually really like them. So for example, that Benjamin Moore, you could very well use it, and maybe just for visual effect, for what I call the wow factor, you could maybe paint your entrance that color, or have an accent wall in your dining room that color, or maybe even a smaller bedroom, like a guest bedroom could be painted that color and it would be just fine. I probably would not recommend you painting the whole house that color though, because I think it's going to be too much. But then if you're not planning to sell and you really, your style is more into bold colors, these are the trends for 2022. So the first color you see, which is purple, right? I don't know what you think. Personally, I think it's horrible, but that is the color that was chosen by the Pantone Institute, and it's called Very, Very Perry. And it's kind of a combination of lilac and purple. And personally, I am really not a fan. So let me know what you think. And maybe you could use it. I certainly wouldn't put it in into like my ceiling, but you know, maybe you could use it as an accent color in your pillows or somewhere else. But that's about the limit of it for me. But then the other colors that are very trendy in 2022 are, you see like emerald green. Again, it's very personal. I kind of reminds me, Cindy said, reminds me of Prince, the singer. Yeah, the purple rain you're probably talking about, right? Yeah. So, but the emerald green is an interesting color. It's not for everybody. But again, it reminds you of nature. It's dark, it's moody, it's very elegant. I could see it used somewhere. Maybe not for me personally, but if I don't know if any of you are really in love with that type of color, let me know. Then we have navy blues. And again, that's their colors called, so it's something called navy blue. There's a color by Benjamin Moore, which I think this is, and I forgot the name, but something Harbor. It's called Dark Harbor. That's what it's called. You can write it down if you really like it. And it's kind of a dark blue, but with a tinge of green in it. So I think it's very lovely. And if you have a big home or more of a traditional style home, you could certainly, you know, use that color for one of your rooms if you're not selling.
The garbage room.
I'm sorry?
Huh?
Sorry, who is talking?
The garbage ran? Early.
Somebody is not muted. Could you mute yourself, please? I'm hearing the conversation.
What?
And
What?
okay, I don't know who is not muting themselves, but you have to mute yourself, please. And then we also have the gray, the dark grays. So the light grays are kind of being replaced by warmer grays, but you know, like dark gray cabinets, I personally really like that. I think it's really pretty, elegant, and timeless. So if you are into dark colors, you'd like that. So Louise says, just looking at these colors make the rooms feel very closed in, not for claustrophobic people. Yeah, I absolutely agree. And Jean Smith said I can mute everyone. Yeah, I can. I just tried to figure out how. Yeah, I agree that dark colors, you'll have to have a particular type of home for it, or you have to be able maybe just to take like one room and do it. Sorry, I'm just trying to see how I can mute everybody, and I'm not sure how to do it. So let me just stop sharing here for a minute, and then how do I mute everyone? Let me see, who's Joe Carl? Carol is not muted, and Gina is not muted. I think I've done everybody now. Okay, perfect. So let me go back to sharing the screen now, and we'll move on. So yeah, those colors are not for everyone, but they're kind of lovely. Now, the next thing, which is really interesting, I think, you know how the fashion always goes back and goes back, right? in circles. And so what we're back to is the warm neutral. So the difference is that this year it's warm colors. So the warm whites, beige, tan, taupe, and even brown again. And even we're going back to the chocolate brown colors, but anything that's cream and beige, it's again, think nature, think recycling, think reusing. So it kind of all goes with the same theme. So anything that's in browns and creams and white, warm whites is back into fashion, which is actually very nice, because it's easy to use those colors and just combine with whatever you already have. It's so versatile. So if you just wanted to repaint, let's say just one room, there is no problem because it will fit with whatever you already have. So it's a very easy to incorporate into your style. The other interesting thing is there is this term, which is actually not new, but for a lot of us, it's probably new. You might have not heard it, and it's called biophilic design. And it's a complicated word, but all it means is using design and decorating features to incorporate nature and plants into whatever you already have. And the elements that you use are as much natural light as possible. So like, use no heavy curtains, bring the light in. If you have little water features and windows to nature, if you have a nice yard or plants outside. So you're kind of always thinking of whatever is the nature outside, how can I incorporate it to bring it into my house? And of course, the easiest way is to use plants. Now, I'm not a green thumb. I actually killed the 2 little succulents that I got from my daughter's wedding in September, and I'm afraid to tell her. But there are people out there who are really fantastic with plants. I see Louise is laughing. Yeah, I'm really not a green thumb. So you can either buy plants that are really easy to use, like that you don't require a lot of care, or maybe you can cheat a little bit and have a few high quality artificial plants. I'm not opposed to that if they're not like from a dollar store, but if they're, high quality plants. And I think you could do a lot of very interesting things. I was actually talking to someone on Zoom yesterday, and she didn't even realize, but she loves plants. And what she did have, as her background for her home office, she had shelves, and she had a combination of different plants, including some hanging ones. And it was really pretty. Like, it's not something that I would probably do because it requires a lot of maintenance, but it was something that was really pretty for her. And I asked her if she knew that she actually was very on trend for this year. So that's called biophilic design, and it's just improving your space, because it's also good for your mental health, apparently, having plants. So just go buy some plants and incorporate them into your house. That's very easy to do. The other interesting concept, and that was kind of a revelation to me, I think we're going back to 1970s. And what you're seeing here is that the furniture and accessories are starting to take very curved, rounded, sculpted shapes. Now, again, it's not necessarily for everybody, but you know how the contemporary modern furniture is very square, everything is very square. Well, we're getting away from that, and we're going back to the things that are rounded, shapely, curvy, and you see it everywhere. So you see it from coffee tables, you see it in headboards, you see benches, mirrors, chairs, and couches, of course. So I just found some photos and I put them just to show you, but that was something that I found quite interesting and unusual. I'm not sure how I feel about it myself. I think I don't like to buy expensive pieces of furniture for something that might not be on trend, in a couple of years. But if you wanted to do something inexpensively and you like that look, what my suggestion would be is maybe just to have like one piece. So for example, you can buy a coffee table. Like I have a Noguchi coffee table, if you know what it is. So it looks like a kidney, not like a kidney, but it's a kind of a triangular rounded shape, a glass with a base. And it's very on trend this year, but I bought it a couple of years ago. And, maybe buy like one chair that's more rounded and less square. So, or a coffee table, or even mirror, like instead of having square mirror or rectangular mirror, you could go for a round or oval mirror. And so you can incorporate small elements, or even artwork. It's also reflecting in the artwork. So if you buy artwork or a print, you'll see that there's a lot of geometrical shapes on them this year, like they're oversized and geometrical shapes, but those shapes, instead of being square, they're actually rounded, so, or wavy. There's a lot of waves that are going on. So that's very interesting. And it's not something that I expected, to be honest. And then I started seeing it. The more research I did, the more I started seeing it. And it seems to be pretty much everywhere. So now that look for it. So look for it in the furniture trends or textiles, or artwork or mirrors or any kind of decor, like even the vases. I haven't had the time to really go and research it deeply, to be honest, but I think I saw some pictures of even vases that instead of being square shaped, everything is becoming very fluid and wavy and rounded and no corners, no sharp corners. So to me, we're kind of going back to 1970s. I mean, from my childhood, that's not that I remember really 1970s that much, but I think it's kind of that type of, you know, kidney shaped stuff that used to be fashionable. Now, that goes together with what we just talked about, and everything is connected. If you're starting to see, if you keep thinking nature, recycling, repurposing, reusing, we're also going to return to the traditional and vintage style. So all this super modern, contemporary kind of cold is gone. And today we're looking to reuse, recycle, maybe repurpose, take some vintage furniture from the 40s and the 50s and the 60s, kind of your grandmother stuff, and even some antiques. I saw that, you know, we used to, when I was in my 20s, like we used to go and hunt for antiques with my husband. And then I chucked everything because I didn't like antiques anymore. Well, it looks like the antiques are kind of back. I do like the 1950s furniture. That's kind of my favorite personal style. So that's why I chose the dresser. But so you know that more traditional, timeless kind of look is coming back. And at the same time, what you're seeing, the accent is on cozy, layers, textures, being at home, making your home really comfortable. And again, it kind of all goes together with what we're discussing. There's a couple of new, not new, but traditional paint finishes that we're starting to see called lime wash paint and Venetian plaster. I'm not going to talk about them today. I don't really know a lot about them, but all I can tell you is those paints and plasters, something that's been used in Europe for many, many years, for hundreds of years, especially in Italy and some other places. And so you can see that kind of a textured, it's almost like velvety textured finish. It's coming back, but I would say be careful with it. And not a lot of companies are selling that type of paint. And it's really more appropriate for traditional homes, okay? Now, again, everything we've been talking about, we're talking about basically sustainability. And this is a big, big word for 2020 that goes with our overall theme of reusing what you have, buying locally, mixing different styles. So you can take the things that you already have and just add, you know, a few pieces of whatever new things you want to bring in. All this artisanal production is a very much in style, one-of-a-kind pieces. So unique style, showing off your personal style. Again, I'm talking about decor. Now, if you're planning to sell, then it's a different story. You should, you know how I feel about it. It can be personal, but without being personal, like your photos and your collections and your diplomas. And then eco-friendly materials are very much in style this year. So bamboo, reclaimed wood, rattan, anything that is eco-friendly and eco-sustainable, and especially younger generations, so millennials and below, this is what they're looking for. This is something that's becoming very important for them. And I think it's a great thing, and it's easy to incorporate into whatever your existing decor is, because you can just purchase, you know, just few things, and anything that looks from natural materials like wood, everything is going to fit with whatever your style you already have. And then the other trend that we have is integrated multi-use spaces. And I think that's not something that's going to surprise you, but I think the difference is that in the last couple of years, a lot of people had to struggle and basically unexpectedly had to work from home and had to very quickly do something to organize their life and their workspace differently from what they were used to. So they were not necessarily permanent solutions, but now they have become permanent solutions. And those are the things that people are adapting their new style for. And And then we're gonna very quickly, I'm just gonna touch on flooring and kitchens. And my meeting is almost over. I'm over 30 minutes and it's finished at 40. For the floorings, pretty much the same thing as last year, but with one big change is that today we're going back to light colors. So no more brown, chocolate brown wood floors, no more black floors, no more gray floors. We're going to natural light oak, sandy, white washed floors. That's what people are looking for. And black and white vintage, anything that's vintage is also in style. And so are the geometrical patterns. So again, geometrical patterns on flooring might not be for everybody because you always have to think for durability. So if you put tiles, I don't think something's gonna take off, you know, in 6 months or a year. So I'd be a little bit more careful with that. But in my new house that we're renovating, I do intend, even before I researched it, I already made a decision that I'm gonna be putting light colors floors. We're going to be sanding them and they're going to be in the light tones of and it opens up a lot of space, right? It's a small house, the one that I'm renovating, so it's going to make it look bigger. And you know, the same thing for you. If you're going to need to redo your floors, you could redo them with light colors. Other than that, it's pretty much the same as it was last year. And one last thing I want to touch on is really the kitchens. So again, you know, I'm not telling you to redo your kitchens, but if you need to redo your kitchen or thinking about it, my kitchen is white and apparently it's out of style now. So we don't do whites anymore, but what's very much in style is light wood and off-white together combinations, or just light wood, or going completely the opposite, which is very bold colors, blue and greens, or dark grays, or staying within warm neutrals such as taupe, stone, mushroom, cream colors. So those are really the trends this year. So let me just stop sharing for a minute and I'm gonna finish very quickly. So those are like, it's a very quick review, but what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna make this presentation available. It's going to be, it's recorded, hopefully, and we'll repost it in the Facebook group, and I think I'll send it out maybe by email again. So for people who have not been able to join us from the beginning and you feel like you've missed some things, not to worry. I will make it available to you. You can rewatch it. It will be in the Facebook group, in the guides as well. And so just one last thing for those of you who didn't join us at the beginning, I will be away for a little bit, but I will still be in the group. Don't worry, you'll still see me. And I just wanted to let you know that if you have any questions, please post them. If you need to have your house refreshed or remodeled, or whether it's a whole house or just one room, you can talk to me, DM me at any time. And I do help people with ideas and consultations, so that's available. One last reminder, if you are interested, I've updated my paint color guide for 2022. It's fabulous. I think it gives you all of the information on the finishes and how to choose your colors. And it gives you the full list of, not the full list, because I couldn't do the full list, but quite a comprehensive list, I should say, of all the neutral paint colors that I recommend, including, I included a bonus, which is all the warm, not all, but a lot of warm colors, white, off-white, cream, all the colors that you can use for your projects, whether they are your selling projects specifically, or if they are just for yourself as well. So if you want the paint guide, I actually have a secret there. Well, somebody's coming in, but it's a little late. The secret is that I'm selling the guide for $17, but I've advertised that if you buy it until before the end of January, you can use it later on. But if you buy it before the end of January, I will give you 20 minutes of my time by email or DM, and you can ask me questions. So if you're not sure about which paint to choose, that's going to be included. So not a lot of people know about it because I kind of hid that information in wherever I was advertising it, but I'm letting you know because you were with me on this Zoom, and I really appreciate your time. So if you are interested in the paint guide, again, it's $17, and if you buy it before the end of the month, you'll get 20 minutes with me. So I would like to thank you, and I am going to have to run off. I'm sorry, I feel kind of, that I'm rushing you guys, but I have a lot of other meetings and a lot of things to take care of before I haven't even packed yet. So I really appreciate your time. If you have questions, please, please, please ask me in the group, and I'll be very happy to answer them for you. And I hope you enjoyed this. Let me know if you did. And I wish you a super good end of the day. So Gina, are you asking me a question? I don't know how to unmute you. Yeah, Gina, did I unmute you? Sorry. Here, what's up?
I was just letting you know how much I enjoyed it.
Oh, you're so sweet. Thank you. Okay, guys, I think Zoom is going to kick me out. So please post the link to buy the guide. Yes, thank you, Jean. I will do that. I will send you. Actually, you know what? You can hear. I'm gonna post it. You know what? I'm gonna post it in the group for you. I'll send it to you by DM also. Okay, and I'll post it in the group as well. So thank you so much. I love you, ladies, and thank you for being with me today and making it so much fun. I was kind of afraid that I'd be talking to myself, and I'll talk to you very soon. Okay, bye, everybody.